meeting. We haven't got any members of the public in, but you're aware that we're being recorded and filmed. So, item 1, apologies. Don't think we have any.
No apologies.
We're all here. Item 2, declarations of interest. Does anyone have any? Yes?
I declare that I have an allotment because there was something about allotments.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's useful. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yes, I need to. My wife has an allotment.
Okay.
Brilliant. So, Chair, I think Councillor Ellison has to bring in their non-pecuniary interest for that particular item.
Yeah. Great. Thank you. Item 3, Chairman's report. The only thing I've got is item 7.5, the tree management. There was going to be a report to follow, but we don't have all the information that we need to make a decision yet, so that's going to be deferred until our next meeting. That's all I've got. For public questions.
None received, Chair.
5 minutes of the last community services meeting. Councillor Ellis and I were both here, so are we going to sign?
We are.
Yeah, so the two of us can.
Lovely, thank you.
Minutes of other meetings referred to Community Services Committee. So the first one is the Remembrance Day meeting, which Council Heritage chairs, and I attended. Just to note. So the first next item we're going to go to is 7, which is the forward planner. And if you will look at the recommendation, it's to note and approve, subject to any comments or amendments that you might have to Appendix A. So if anybody does have anything they would like to raise now, please raise your hand, let me know. If not, I don't think there's anything we particularly need to go through. As you can see, the officers are listed on the right. They fit in with our agenda over the years. You'll notice there's a gap for January. We have space for a meeting in January, but only if we need it. If everyone is happy with that, do we all note and approve? Thank you. So the next one is the key CSC project update. I think it's worth saying that actually the recommendation is to note the progress and plan future activities. So 1.1, we're not really agreeing to anything, we're just noting on this occasion. But I think you can see that we're making good progress, got good future plans. So is there anything that you'd like to add, or?
Chair, there's nothing that I need to add. I'm happy to take any questions if anyone has them.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to raise?
I'll just raise one thing. I think I was quite pleased with 3.4 on page 13 with the soft engineering stuff. I know a bit about bentonite, which is a sort of clay type stuff usually. So when people are redoing canals, for example, they have bentonite rolls which consist of 2 layers of fabric with bentonite inside. And what they do is they lay it across the canal like that, and then when it's put in water, it seals. So it should be quite good. And also it's a kind of more of a natural solution. So I think that was a very good idea by the volunteers.
Yep, very positive. I'd just like to say about the dementia friendly, there's a working party that's going to meet later this month. I went along to one of the talks that the Town Council hosted. It's very interesting. I think it's going to be a very positive project for the town, so looking forward to that. Way leaves, is everybody happy they know what a way leave is?
No.
So, So, if you live next to an allotment and you've got a gate from your house to your garden into the allotment, that's called a wayleave. And it's going to be quite a big project, isn't it, going through all the wayleaves and checking they're still up to date?
It is, Chair. So we started looking at the ones that relate to the allotment societies. There are other types of wayleaves that the Town Council hold as well, and the project will progress into looking at those as well.
Oh, right, the whole lot. That's
Yeah.
good. And I think you'll note the success of the snow angels last year, which was very encouraging. So again, this one we're just noting the progress and planned future activities. So on your side. Thank you. Brilliant. And then the next one is review of bylaws, which I expect we've all read every line. Basically, we've added in a few things to the old read. So a lot of the bits in yellow, you can see it just says additional grounds. But we have added in other things as well. So we are being asked to review the bylaws and then to approve the revised timescales. I appreciate there was a lot to wade through. Is there anything that you'd like to specifically raise or draw our attention to?
Chair, the only thing I would add to this is as you quite rightly pointed out, there's lots of reference to additional grounds. Now, one of the benefits of revising and refreshing our bylaws was in order to add protection to some of our other sites. So our bylaws historically has been focused around common, really. By adding in additional grounds, we cover off the recreation ground, the Baffin Springs, etc., etc. So it enables us to be much more proactive in dealing with certain issues. And that's the point I would just make. These are kind of seen as positive bylaws. We aren't heavily enforcing them.
No.
But what it does, it enables us to have some enforcement powers should there be some unnecessary or unwanted activity across our open spaces.
Oh, sorry. Councillor Curley and then Councillor Friggin.
I believe there's a typo on page 32. It refers to bylaw 34.1, but I think that should be 32.1. Under 32.2.
Sorry, which page was that?
Page 32. It's the overall book.
Excessive noise.
Yeah, the one under 32.2, it says bylaw 34.1, but there isn't a 34.1.
There isn't a one.
Oh.
There's a
I
34.
assume it's 32.1. It refers to.
I think that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, so 32 months.
Yeah. Okay.
No,
Great.
oh, sorry.
Councillor Friggin.
I just had to, just referring back to what you just said about, Carl, about the, how do you then make sure that they're being adhered to. Looking at things like ball games, recycling, what are you proposing to do if people are playing balls or are cycling over the common or other areas? I think the cycling one is could potentially be quite a big one because kids ride bikes and would like to ride bikes because that's what children like to do.
Yeah. So essentially, Chair, as I've mentioned, these are kind of to be used in a positive way rather than in a kind of an enforcing way. So what we won't do with these, and what we do is go out looking for issues. So what they are there to do, and lots of them are around discretion. You know, we do at times have people using the common in ways that is disruptive to other people. So, for example, a good cycling example is we ran a Wild Woods Day a couple of months ago, and there were some people cycling around the common, and they were doing it in a way that was actually quite dangerous to other users. So by having bylaws around those kind of things, it enables us to flag those to people's attention when perhaps they're not behaving in a way that is suitable to other users. So we're not out there looking for people doing wrong, but they're there to be utilised in a positive way when it is disruptive to others.
Can I ask something on top of that?
Yes.
Just ask, do you mean, are you going to put signage on or just apply them as and when just remind people of them, or is there going to be signs to say there shouldn't be cycling, or no ball games, or no this, or no that?
So historically, we wouldn't put signs up.
No.
So we do publicise the fact that we've got bylaws.
Okay.
But yeah, we're less around actively publicising them. Really.
Okay.
Because I think the danger in doing that is actually people get the wrong impression as to what they're there for.
Yeah, I agree.
We're not
True.
trying to be some sort of big brother and that looks down on everything people are doing.
Yeah.
They're kind of, we see them as tools, really,
Yeah,
tools to
okay.
use to address behaviours that we might not want to see on the common at certain times.
There was another typo I think I picked up on, which was page 31, so 28.2. It refers to bylaw 30. I think that should be bylaw 32, so I wonder if it's similar, that they've... But just, to me, it was referring to noise, and in referring to bylaw 30, that doesn't seem to have any relevance to 28.2.
Yeah, so Chair, so I think that should be bylaw 28. I think it's the same again. So it's adding clarity to 28.1, really.
Right.
I think what's happened here is where we've added them in at various points. Some of the points have gone through. Despite all our different eyes on it, and I appreciate it's quite a big detailed document, but we certainly appreciate those spots.
I've got a couple of points. Page 27, 13 and 32. Should that be common and additional grounds? And in one or two places you've got common or additional grounds in the document.
Yeah.
Probably need to
And
be
some,
consistent.
Yeah, Chair,
and
so,
some is and.
yes, I think it's all is probably the consistent term. So it's one or the other.
Okay.
So we'll go through that and double check those.
All right. And under 19, sorry, clause 19 archery, does that include crossbows? Because people do use them.
Do they? On the common.
I think it
Wow.
So my suggestion, Chair, is it should do. So it doesn't
Yeah.
as written, but potentially with the rise of Game of Thrones, maybe that's something to do with it. I don't know, but yeah, I think if you're okay for us to amend and add that, that would be useful.
Any more? Paul?
I just had a question about overnight parking, page 27, 14, which I totally, I'm not against it at all. I'm just wondering if there have been examples of where the locations are where people are parking overnight that we wouldn't want them to be parking overnight. I mean, is it car parks or is it like people, I don't know, bumping up on the common near the Silver Cup or something?
Yeah, so Chair, it's a mix of different things. So it's car parks, it's verges. Verges are a bigger problem in many respects because actually you can see, if you come on the common walk, you'll see some of the wearing away of verges in and around the common where people are parked up. So those are the two sites or two areas that you normally refer to. However, this overnight parking one is what I would describe as a kind of one of a suite of bylaws that tries to help us address unauthorised encampments.
Okay.
So unauthorised encampments are very tricky to manage, and most of the law around it is in favour of those that are carrying out unauthorised encampments. By having a number of policies in the bylaws that relate to or address that sort of thing, it strengthens our case when we're working with the police and other authorities. So there is a specific around there's overnight parking, specific about vehicles, and some stuff about horse grazing, things like that, which are all kind of bylaws that would enable us to address some of the traditional unauthorised encampments we might experience.
Okay. So it's not particularly like the Lydecker car park, for example?
No, not Lydecker as such, no. But there has been times where we've had cars that have been left there and potentially, residents parking in certain places because of parking issues in town. So again, having the bylaw does enable us to address that should we be made aware of that.
Do we have any other comments?
Sorry, just does our definition of additional grounds include that content? It includes the park.
it's page 34, you've got Batford Springs Local Nature Reserve, Lydica Park, Portage Hill Park and Westfield Recreation Ground. So, would you think that the Lydica car park comes under Lydica Park? Would you?
Done that.
No.
No, so no, it doesn't in terms of the way this is written, and in many respects it actually can't, because the bylaws that you're looking at here are in relation to the Open Spaces Act. So there's only certain grounds that we can apply them to. The way in which we would cover off any issues specifically in the car park, like Lydica, is through our arrangements with District Council and car parking services. It does, however, cover off things like bar lamps, because that is effectively like part of the common and Rovers car park. So, but Lydica is slightly different in that sense.
More municipal than
Yeah.
Councillor Cousins.
Oh, I was only thinking in relation to car parking. I guess that might, I could see why we don't want to have a lot of signage around about, don't play ball games on the common, because we might not mind it, etc. But I guess parking is one thing where people are very hot on signage. So if we proactively don't want people to park on bar lamps car park overnight, which I guess people could do if they just go to the pub, I guess we should say, or at least discuss whether we should say it or not.
I mean, just on that one, I'm pretty sure that we'll double check, but I think the signage in and around the car park's already stated, so but we'll double check that just in case.
I think I've seen
It should be on.
yeah.
It should be on.
I think I've seen that.
General boards.
Yeah. Do you know if is it the Marcus Meadow? Is that part of Batford Springs?
That's
So,
correct.
yes, it is. Okay.
Any other comments? Are we happy with drones though? In which case, are we happy to agree the recommendation 2.1, which is the committee is requested to review the bylaws previously agreed in November 2018? I think we have done that. Perfect, thank you. In which case, then, we're now to approve the revised timescales. So if you look at the, you've seen the survey, and then in the report, it's got when certain things are to be completed by. I can't see a problem with them, but if anybody else has a comment to make about the timeline. Seems relatively straightforward, yeah? So, if everybody's happy, so the recommendation is 2.2. The committee is asked to approve the revised timescales against the outlined actions tabled within paragraph 3.4. Are you asking a question?
No, I'm sorry, I was just going too early with voting.
That's all right. Yeah, everybody happy? Brilliant, thank you very much. In which case we go on now to agenda 7.4. So this is T redesign and construction. I think the report is pretty clear on what's wanted. The golf club itself are paying for it, which is a huge consideration. Does anybody have any comment on moving the tees?
Yeah. Do we know if there's is there going to be any notice to the public, so if you just walk along, people just use it publicly to walk along there, whether they will be aware that the team, tees might have moved, and whether you walk along, past a tree, might now be a putting green or something, so a sort of safety thing.
I don't know the answer.
So, Chair, there is one hole where that would be relevant.
Right.
Double checking which one it is. So that hole is the fourth tee. So on page 55.
Yeah.
So at the moment there is a right of way which is up the top here,
Yeah.
into that part of the common. So essentially the tee here is going to be extended on that area. However, it will make no difference to the people that are used to walking that area, because there's a tee on that part at the moment.
Okay. Yeah.
it won't make any difference
No.
in that sense.
Good.
There aren't any implications on changes to greens or other areas
Okay,
that
just
people
the
would
tea, yeah, just the tea.
would be surprised by. The other thing, just to say on that one, Chair, there will be a closure of that access into that right of way whilst the T work is being done on that particular one.
Okay,
But it's very minor.
right. But they expected it all quite quickly, really, didn't they?
Yes.
Mm. And minimum disruption to everybody, I think. Anybody else have any other comment they'd like to make? Councillor Scriven?
Separate to this, I drove through here today, just coincidentally, and they had a gazebo up alongside the road next to the T, saying watering hole. I don't know if they were selling drinks and things from there. Is that kind of their business, or is it kind of... I was just interested by it, and I wondered what the...
Yeah, it's on a day-to-day basis they wouldn't have those sorts of structures up. I don't know the specifics today. What I would imagine it is they probably had a golf society in. With some golf societies they do put up a temporary gazebo to drinks halfway around.
Okay.
Soft drinks or something more
Yeah.
strong, I don't know.
That makes sense.
But yeah, it's not a regular feature. It's probably as a one-off, as a link to an event.
They often have charity dues up there. Okay. No further comment. The recommendation is that we approve the request from Hartland Income Golf Club for the works illustrated in Appendix B. Can I have your approval? Excellent. Thank you very much. In which case, we now go to exempt business.